Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you're doing really well. My name is Hamna and I share content on my channel connected to art, healing and spirituality. Through Ramzan, I've decided to commit myself to connecting to Allah's names every single day, and so far, alhamdulillah, I think today is the 13th Roza where I am, and we've reached our 13th day of, is it 13th or the 14th? Now I'm totally confused. But anyway, maybe that's the energy I'm picking up. Do you know what actually it is? I think because it's the lunar eclipse, I think either today or somewhere close by now. And what happens is things go hidden. Things aren't fully themselves, and we go into a zone where we aren't able to make sense of what is happening. So sometimes when you connect to the planet, you really see how the earth is speaking to us and it's guiding us, that internally what is happening within us. Also, there are a lot of secrets that are within our being, and how Allah wants us to kind of go within through this period. And it is full moon, so it's connected very much to the feminine energy to rise itself. So a lot of emotions would be coming, and these names that have come today might be quite significant, connected to that phase of eclipse and new moon and everything. So Bismillah Rahman Rahim. The names I got was Ya Qabid Ya Basit. So these were the two names that I got connected to. But then through these two names, Ya Hafid and Ya Rafi is also something that we need to sort of connect to. What happens is with Allah's names, when we understand one name, there are some names that on their own stand alone, but then there are some names that have like opposites. So it's a good idea to kind of learn everything. So for example, if you were doing Ya Qabid, which says is the only source of all contraction, one who is not aware of the spiritual meaning of these names will kind of go, oh my god, who actually just contracts, right? Who just takes. And so to get the whole spectrum of, to understand fully the name properly, we need to know the opposite also. So if Allah is saying I do contraction, like when you take the breath in, you bring all of you inside, and then how he expands you is Ya Basit. So it's very much connected to your breath today. What he gives and what he takes, both are in his control. Most times when something gets taken from us, we look at it as something that we must be, we must have done something, and because of that Allah's punished us. And our experiences have nothing to do with the way Allah feels for us. Allah feels at constant Rahman and Rahim. So once we clarify that in our head, the experience that we go through is just a lesson to teach us more about ourselves, and how through that lesson we can connect and depend and receive guidance and healing only and only from Allah. So any lesson that you learn in life, any experience that you go through in life, is only a lesson, is not a reflection of Allah's love on you. So if something good happens, yay, Allah loves you. And then if something bad happens, whoa, Allah's, angry with you. That's another thing. Like, people think that people who have lots of money are very loved by Allah. And people who are not, that are not loved by Allah, that has seriously no connection at all. And we've been brainwashed to think that, the good or the rich, the ones that look really good in the world are excuse my sniffs because I've just got a really weird cold coming off and on. So just bear with my voice. I apologize for that. And so sometimes the good and the bad, we think of it as a reflection of how Allah is feeling towards us. But let's be very clear, Allah's feeling towards us is not like humans. It doesn't go up and down. It is a constant, which is Rahman and Rahim. Rahman based, I've done a session 2 days ago connected to these beautiful names. So if you want to go listen to that, or if you want to go dive deeper into it, I have a really good session on my Patreon. You can go check that out once you become a member, which is, by the way, 7 days of free membership, and you can just go crazy, get looking through all the tutorials. And even if you don't do art, it's like it's just very profound, just listening to what the downloads speak and give you insights about. So coming back to the names, I will read the 4 names for us, and I'll leave it up to you how you kind of bring that into your, artwork. But it's important that I read them one at a time and see what comes through. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim, Ya Qabid. Ya Qabid is the only source of all contraction and the only one who actually contracts. At the physical level, continual contraction and expansion are seen through nature. It is in the natural physical rhythm of the heart and the lungs. Contraction and expansion are also aspects of greater sphere of heart. Transient states called ahwal constantly are experienced in the wider sphere of heart, which could be called the depth of feeling. So, if you think about contraction, something's pulling back in, right? So, literally, everything comes back in. So, every breath that we take inwards comes back into the heart, into the lungs, into your being. So, we're literally bringing everything back inside us. Al Qabid has a sober quality. Its opposite, al basit, expansion, has the quality of ecstasy. So when we're pulling something in, it is coming inside our dense body, right? So it's going to be a little tight, it's going to be sober, it's going to be controlled, it's going to be contained. Whereas when we speak about ya basit, it's about expansion, it's about potential, it's about limitlessness, it's about ecstasy, things going wild and crazy, right? So that's one coming in and coming out. That what is from the dunya, if we take things inwards, we contract, right? We come in, we learn that the dunya has limited way of us looking at things, whereas when the soul awakens, when the basit, ya basit, from the inside out, so if your breath is coming outwards, it's expanding, like the potential is unlimited. You see, when you live life from the world outside, there's only so much you can take inside your body, right? Because of your culture, society, whatever it is, like people are saying or talking, you kind of just have limited ways of thinking, which is just one-sided. But when it comes to Ya Basit, he opens you in a way that you can dance through, like everything is possible. There's no like limitations to what could be or what can be or what might be or what should be. It's like whatever is just is going to be, it's just ecstasy with Ya Basit. Ya Qabid Ya Basit, when recited as pair, provide a necessary balance for those who stubbornly cling to the pleasurable spiritual states that they have become attached to by their desire. Repetition of this pair is also useful for those who have a strong aversion of contraction and who are desperately trying to escape from lower states. A lot of people generally are very connected to how we look, how we see, egoic kind of drives, like dunya drives, the worldly drives that we have. Like we see somebody and then we want that. So our attachments and distractions are what lead our desires. But the desire is, there's something that is within us also, that is the desire of the soul is always to be in presence and in remembrance of Allah. But the desire of the ego is to be always connected to things of this dunya, right? Equanimity comes from realizing that God is operating through both these poles of experience. So you can't just be one or the two. You can't just be attached to dunya, or you can't just be attached to the heavens. The whole idea of becoming fully spiritual is connecting dunya to the heaven and heaven to the dunya at the same time. Like you can't be breathing if you're just taking in air, right? You have to be releasing, giving out also. So the both of them is called breathing, the in and the out. Not just in. If you're just taking breath in and it's not going to go anywhere, you're going to blow up like a balloon, and you wouldn't, like, your body can only contain so much, like air inside it. And so you have to release it to expand it into this world. So inside coming outwards. The four divine names beginning here with Al-Qabid are the regulators of spiritual states. They describe the action of God in contracting, expanding, lowering, and raising beings. They should all be considered together. Ya Basid, Ya Qafid, Ya Rafi. And Ya Qabid. Ya Qabid, Ya Basid, Ya Qafid, Ya Rafi. So then we have Al-Basit is the one who expands, the only source of expansion. Often there is great joy in the expansion of Al-Basit, and its meaning is connected with ecstasy. I want you to think about ecstasy. Ecstasy has an element of letting go, of liberation, of freedom, also of uncertainty, and not knowing, the unknown, the unseen. How you revolve, you automatically lose yourself into whatever is happening in that moment. You're almost not in control at all, right? So there's this passage that when the air comes in, so if we think about air or breathing, Ya Qabid, for example, is saying this is what you come in the body, but the body is limited, so only only a few inches will expand or whatever will happen, but it will be contained inside this body. But when it's basit, it says that it's connected to ecstasy. Ecstasy is like when it comes out, I don't know where the air molecules are going to go that have gone in my stomach and come out, right? So yeah, basit is kind of like that expansion, which is even beyond your understanding. You can't really work out where my breath molecules are going to fly to and who they're going to reach, the vibration of my words, who is it going to reach and how will it reach and what will happen in the unseen. We can't really be knowing about that. And so the ecstasy, this the essence, the understanding of ecstasy, if you really dive deeper into it, is freedom, it's uncertainty, it's just letting go and understanding that there's beauty in the not knowing. There are many stages of its expansiveness. Al-Basit brings a kind of ecstasy in eating, drinking, smelling, in music, in great natural beauty, and in grander ways, until your joy uplifts all beings. You become absent to yourself and find God's presence completely within. So think about it, that every single cell, every single molecule that comes out of you is in dance movement. So it's dancing, or it is singing, or it's just eating kebabs that you love, or it's like dancing to the best music that you. So outside, when it came, it's just dancing and it's just having a little bit of fun, and it uplifts all beings, right? So whatever it is that you are saying from your mouth as it coming out, it's like dancing. The vibration that you create is of dance, of ecstasy, of beauty and love and music and all that sort of stuff. Even though the states that may be reached are impressive, they are transient, and the movement between al-qabid and basit consequently should be seen as horizontal. One's actual maqam or established station is of realization may be unaffected by temporary states of ecstasy. After they pass, there is a tendency to return to the habit of grieving over the past and fearing the future. It keeps pulling you back and forth, back and forth. The more mature a spiritual traveler becomes on the path, the more fully they understand how sobriety and ecstasy naturally go together. Again, it says, Si Qabid, Khafid, Rafi, for this name. Ya Khafid. Al-Hafid is the one who lowers beings down into the spiritual station. It facilitates real descent, meaning this is the name that is like really gets you deep into the dark. You know that when we say that when you've reached the rock bottom, the only way is upwards. So Ya Khavit is the one who's actually pulling you to the rock bottom, like it brings you really, really low. The movement described by the pair, because you see, we're so distracted by different things in the dunya. Sometimes we need Ya Khavit to really pull us from our, like, so he'll give us signs that, listen to me, come towards me. He'll give you signs, he'll give you ways of coming back to purify, to think about Allah. But you'll always be so distracted. So you what Allah does is he holds your gardan, like your neck, and then he tries to pull you by his finger, by your hand, then by your arm, and then by your shoulders, and then he just goes boom, ya hafid, you're not listening to me, and I need you to listen to me, because I need you to go to Jannah, because that's what his goal is, that to do everything that he can to help you come to Jannah, inshallah, back home to him. So what he does is he comes and grabs you from his neck, from your neck, and just pulls you down into the deep, dark, dark, dark whales stomach, so that you're able to sit with yourself and reevaluate and reanalyze where you are in life and what have you done and who have you forgotten and who are you idealizing and making your god. The movement described by the pair of Al-Khafid and Al-Rafi is vertical. These two names of God relate to maqam or spiritual station, a non-transient stage of spiritual realization, rather than to ahwal, which are temporary states described by Al-Qabid and Al-Basit. I'll explain this in the diagram, but as for now, I'll keep moving. Al-Khafid's lowering of spiritual station is out of loving protection, concern for the soul of the wayfarer. It is a kind of constriction, but the job of the heart is to make the infinite finite. With the realization of Al-Khafid, there's a grasping of the secret deep within the contraction of the heart. One meaning of the root of Al-Khafid is to lower the wing like a mother chicken lowers her wings over her chicks to protect them. So think of Ya Khafid, he literally takes you into the dark and protects you from the outside world, so you're not able to hear anybody, you're not able to see or connect to anybody. You feel very disconnected with people when you're going through the experience of getting to know Ya Khafid. You feel like, oh my god, the world's not getting me, I'm not getting the world, let's just retract, right? So you go back in, you think you are the one choosing to like not meet people and you're not engaging or you're unable to connect to these people. Actually, it is him who is showing you that he is Ya Khafid and he wants you to come back home towards him. So for you to be able to feel more protected, he has this wings that he opens around you, and through that wings you can't really see the outside of the world. He literally just envelops you and just holds you in his arms in the darkness, so you're able to have a communication and connection with your Allah. Ya Khafid should be recited paired with its opposite, Ya Rafi. When you understand that God alone is the facilitator of your grade of realization, you become content with the raising and or lowering of the spirit as God wills. So you understand, if God is the one who's taking you down and if he's the one who's taking you up, then he knows which part, where you need a slap and where you need a pull and where you need a push and where you need inspiration. He only knows, right? So it's very beautiful the way he explains this, that if we know the rising and the lowering are both done by Allah, the spiritual person or the person who's connected to Allah doesn't get too shaken by whatever's happening in their life, because they know that either way Allah is with them. Even in the darkness, Allah's got the warm blanket of darkness, of silence around it, and even in the when they're close to the sunlight or whatever, Allah is still with them. The combination of these names in repetition helps to protect you from your own spiritual greed or desire, and to protect you from going too high too fast when you are not prepared. Repetition of Ya Khafid may also be an antidote for a spiritual burnout, especially when a person feels that spiritual practices are not working to change their condition. We sometimes get very impatient. I'm praying so much, I'm doing so much, I'm trying so much, but nothing really seems to be happening. The point is that whatever seems to be happen will only happen when he wants it to happen. So for us to get impatient about why is this not happening is us wanting to be in control of qadar, and that's not in our hands, right? So it really takes out our he reminds us that you don't really have control. So thank you very much, sit on your seat, be humble and know your place, kind of thing. So Ya Rafi is the one who raises beings through the spiritual stations by which they draw nearer to Allah. It is the only cause of such exaltation. Ar-Rafi is the exalter. It facilitates movement to the higher planes. It all allows you to transcend lower states, opinions, prejudice, and even to overcome obsessions. Through its activity, a traveler, sorry, just saw something. A traveler through its activity, a traveler on the spiritual path goes through every single healing process until they are truly free. So he takes you up, he brings you down, he takes you up, he brings you down. There's a constant up and down, just so that you're able to be purified until you are truly free of your greed and whatever the lower emotions are. The action of Al-Hafid Al-Rafi is not an action in time. It is not evident even in the movement of the heart's expansion and contraction. It occurs in God's time, which is eternal. When invoking this name, you are extending to God's casuality, and thus it is not a technique for getting high. It's not like you start reciting Ya Rafi and you're going to like feel ecstasy and like you take a drug, and it's not like a tablet sort of thing. That's what we're trying to say. To truly benefit from it, you cannot be attached to being high or low. You have to understand that either way, up or down, side or left or right, either way, you're always going to be in the presence of your Allah. So regardless of which state or which phase of life you are in, you're always protected, you're always taken care of, because in every state he is the one. He's giving you a name that in every state he's going to be with you. When Ya Rafi is paired in recitation with Ya Hafid, the sincere practitioner may be allowed to unveil and observe the inner workings of the soul. You'll understand. So because it's taking you upwards, it's going to give you a perspective of a bigger vision, that you're able to see from your soul rather than from the eyes of the from your own eyes, basically from a lower earthly plane. You start seeing things from the soul's inner working. So these are the 4 names: Ya Qabid, Ya Basit, Ya Hafid, and Ya Rafi. I'm going to use my A5, is it A5? Sheet of paper, and I'm going to see if I can draw a beautiful grid with you guys, depending on how much time I have. These are very, very sacred names, and they remind us that life's not always going to be perfect. And the beauty of life is to understand that there will be up and down, there will be pull and push, but we'll constantly, when we stick to our goal of always being in presence of Allah, then we'll be fine. We'll get through it, inshallah. So just a center. Just relax your shoulders, and on your sheet of canvas, just place a tiny dot wherever it may be. Don't try to measure this. This is just a little dot wherever it wants it to be. Using your ruler, I'm going to create approximately 4 centimeters on either side. So it will be like an 8 centimeter circle. Now, of course, you can go right or left. That really depends on your own comfort level, if you want to go right or left. I mean, portrait or landscape on the sheet of paper. Sometimes I work horizontally, sometimes I work vertically. This is only because I like change, and I think these sort of little things that we do help us not be sticking to a certain format. Placing my compass in the center, I am first creating my circle. This is my dunya, and in my dunya, Ya Hafid, Ya Qabid, Ya Qabid, Ya Basit is the horizontal line, and Ya Hafid and Ya Rafi is the vertical line. There we are. I'm going to take my compass. I'm going to mark 60 on my left, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on both sides. And then 120. Let's see what happens if we do that on this side also. 120 and 60. The other side, 60 and 120. Just going to use those lines that I just created and create my diagonals. Now we have to focus on the direction. So when we say Ya Qabid, it's about contraction. So let's say if this was Ya Qabid, right? So we're going to create inside it, the air is being pulled inside. So I'm just going to create arrows for myself to remember. This is Ya Qabid, right? And then when he speaks about Basit, he says it's coming out. So we're going to go, the air, the breath is coming out. Right? Then when he speaks about his Khafid, he says he lowers us down. So we're going to create arrows that when he lowers us down into the darkness for our own benefit to protect us, is like that. And when he is talking about Ya Rafi, he's talking about going upwards. He pulls you out of any kind of darkness and reminds you of what your purpose is and allows you to clean yourself from anything that is negative. Of course, when I do this piece on my own, then I will be doing it with my ink, but right now I'm just going to do it like this. Now just for that, so that we can remember, this one is Qabid. So it's a good idea to be very clear about these four names because they're four names that you'll be doing. So it's a good idea to kind of have them written big. I'm going with English at the moment, but of course you can choose to go with whatever you want. So I'm going with Ya. Actually, Ya Qabid is, contraction. So I'm going inwards. And then he speaks about Ya Basit. So I'm going to go outwards, which was this one, right? Ya Basit. Then I'm going to turn my sheet and I'm going to look at it as to, oh wait, so this one can't be Ya Basit because, sorry, this one is Ya Basit because it's symbolizing this one. And Ya Qabid is symbolizing this one. And then this one is symbolizing the coming, this is the going up, which is Ya Rafi. And this one is coming downwards. So this will be Al Khafid. I'll do it again and just so we're clear. Ya Qabid and Ya Basit. It'd be so lovely if we can actually do this. So we can remember that this name is representation of this one. And they're diagonally opposite to each other. And Ya Qabid is this one. So we can actually create our arrows like that. So then we can see later on in future when we see that Ya Qabid is the one who's the contractor, brings the breath in. Ya Basit is the one, so we have the arrow here that brings the breath out. Then we have Al Khafid, which takes us downwards, right? Al Khafid is this one. and we can see that the arrows are going downwards. He pulls you into the darkness, like you go through a life-changing experience of some sort, or that sort of thing. And then he talks about Ya Rafi. So Ya Rafi, this is the arrows that mark that, and then you can see he's the one who will pull you upwards. So if you really want to go, like, if you also want to kind of bring it even further, is that you can do this, so that you remember the arrows, and then this one is going here, which is, sorry, the other way. And then this is going like that. I love these, they're so cute. Anyway, and then this one is pulling you up, just arrows, so that when you see the piece, you're clear about, like, okay, hang on, this is what Allah is trying to tell me, that when you are in a if things are like not working backwards, things are not going according to your liking or whatever, he's pulling you, he's contracting you, he's closing the doors, he's not letting you have the opportunities. It's because there's some kind of goodness in that. He's Ya Qabid. He chooses what to contract, and then he chooses himself to call himself Ya Basit. I'm the one who's going to push you forward in the direction where I need to. Kind of like the arrow, he'll pull you back and then he'll release you in however long it takes for him to do that. But either way, he is with you. So don't think like something is happening to you without the will of Allah. Anything and everything that happens to you, good or bad, is happening because of him. So if you're being pulled, in a direction where you have to sort of just go inwards and things are not working out for you, that's Ya Qabid. And then when he's actually pulling you, you're getting lots of opportunities, you're doing lots of things, Ya Basit is taking you and giving you different experiences. As you connect to Ya Hafid, he's the one who's going to lower you and make you feel like, oh my god, I'm so unworthy, I don't know what to do with myself, I'm blah blah blah, guilt and all that. So he'll take you in through those emotions so that you're able to have a conversation with him, to understand, to heal, to connect, to receive his guidance in the darkness, in the stillness. And once you've reached your guidance, he will push you upwards towards your soul, and remind you of who Ya Rafi is. He's the one who expands you, he's the one who raises you, he's the one who takes you higher above, to give you like a more broader perspective, so that you're able to see all of this together. So I really, really hope that there was some message in this for you. When you work on it, do tag me and share your works on social media if you feel like doing so. I love seeing your creativity, or you can share it in the WhatsApp group. If there's anything that you feel came through as an insight, leave a comment or connect with me, share with me, because that's a lovely way of energy exchange. Share it, like it, and subscribe the channel. Do help me with spreading the word around, because so many people don't know what it is that I do, and it's such a lovely way of spending time with Allah. So I really hope that you can be someone who helps me spread Allah's light, and of course attract abundance your way through that gesture, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah guide us, protect us, and always hold us and help us towards that what he knows is best for us, inshallah ta'ala, and remove the obstacles between him and us, and keep us on Sirat al-Mustaqim, keep us focused on him, allow us to do our ibadat in the best possible way that we can. And I hope he accepts our efforts, and yeah, just really, really grateful about life today. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and I'll speak to you soon, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.